Good morning, everyone. Continuing our lectures on stereochemistry, today I am going to give a talk on configurations, that is enantiomers and diastereomers. So myself, Dr. Karthik Rao, Assistant Professor in the Department of Organic Chemistry, Gayatri Vidya Parishad College for Degree and PhD. So what is a configuration? The spatial arrangement of the groups by bond breaking and making is called as configuration. As we have already learned about the conformations, that is the rotation of the bond. Here we are breaking the bond and we are again making the bond on the same carbon atom. The spatial arrangement of the groups around the carbon atom is called as configurations. So let us see what is this configurations. So before going into the configurations, let us know some terminologies which are useful for the configurations. The first one is chirality. So what is this chirality? Where does it come from? So the chirality is the term which has been coined by the handedness, which is a Greek word. So the handedness means when we look at the two hands, they look alike, they're same. But whenever we try to overlap on each other, that means whenever we place these two on each other, they doesn't look like. That means they are not superimposable. The term is called as non-superimposable. So this non-superimposability of the object is called as chirality. So thus, if you see our hands or legs, they look like they are the same mirror images. If you place a mirror, you can see the opposite of the hand. So whenever they are placed on each other, they are non-superimposable. So this functionality or this property is called as chirality. So but our interest is organic molecules. So the carbon having 4 different groups are called chirality. So what is this carbon called as? That carbon is called as chiral carbon, where 4 different groups. So the carbon is a tetrahedral structure. So as we know that carbon has a tetrahedral structure, and this tetrahedral structure is represented like this, where 2 atoms are present on the plane of the paper. So these 2 are plane of the paper, and one is above the plane and one is below the plane. So the thick wedge indicates the above the plane and dotted wedge line indicates the below the plane, or this is towards the viewer, or this is away from the viewer. So this is the representation of a tetrahedral carbon with 4 different atoms. So whenever the carbon with 4 different atoms are present, atoms are groups, whatever it may be. So 4 different groups or atoms are present. Such a molecule or such a carbon is called as a chiral carbon. For example, if you see this example where the 4 different groups, that is hydrogen, NH2, COOH, C2H5, all are 4 different groups. So therefore, whenever we place a mirror to this group, this atom, this molecule, it looks like this one. But these 2 molecules look the same, and the properties of these 2 molecules are also same, but they do not superimposable on each other. Such molecules are called as chiral molecules or chirality. Okay, the property where the molecule show this chiral structure is called as chirality. Or these 2 molecules are also called as enantiomers. Okay, the term called as enantiomer. I will come that in the topic. So next, if I change the molecule with the same group, if suppose the hydrogen present here is changed into NH2, that means these 2 groups are same, they are alike. When we place the mirror, what happens? These 2 molecules will be superimposable on each other, thus they do not have any chirality. Such a molecules are called as achiral, or such a center is called as achiral. So chiral center, and opposite to that is called as achiral center. Simple. Okay. So chirality is the property of a molecule, and chiral center is the property of a carbon, where 4 different groups should be present. So remember that the chirality or chiral center should have 4 different groups. Whether the molecule have the chirality or not, it doesn't matter. But the chiral center should have 4 different groups. So that is the criteria. So then we come to the another definition called as a symmetric center. I will tell you what is this asymmetric center. But before that, you have to know the stereogenic center. So I have already told you that the chiral center. So let us see this example. So there are 2 chiral centers here. This is one chiral center, the carbon with this one has OH, COOH, H, and this group is 1 more. And this is the second stereogenic center, or this is also called as chiral center, where 4 different groups are present. Even though this whole molecule is a chiral molecule or not, it doesn't matter. This molecule has 2 chiral centers. Okay, how many chiral centers are there? There are 2 chiral centers for this molecule. Whether it may be a chiral or a chiral molecule, it doesn't matter what is the molecule is. This molecule has 2 chiral centers, and this also has 2 stereogenic centers. What is the stereogenic center? So whenever we replace a group, okay, whenever I replace a group or interchange a group with another one, a new group is formed or a new stereogenic center will be formed. Such a molecule is called as stereogenic centers. So if you look at this molecule, if you replace this chlorine with the hydrogen, what happens? A new stereogenic center will be produced. Or if we replace this bromine with hydrogen, a new stereogenic center will be produced. So such a molecules, so if we replace this chlorine with CH3 or chlorine with C2H5 or chlorine with hydrogen, a new center is formed. Such a centers are called as stereogenic center. So we have so many definitions. So first one is the chiral, second one is chiral center, third one is achiral, fourth one is the stereogenic center, chiral center, and last one is asymmetric center. So what is this asymmetric center? Before going into this asymmetric center, the stereo centers are divided into 2 groups, that is enantiomers and diastereomers. I will let you know each and every terminologies. The first one is enantiomers. So enantiomers is the term called as superimposability, non-superimposability. Okay. So the simple meaning of this one is opposite. Whenever we place a molecule at the mirror, then the identical molecule will be seen in the mirror, which is non-superimposable to the original molecule. Such a molecules are called as enantiomers. Okay, so the main criteria for this enantiomers is the non-superimposability. So non-superimposability, and these molecules, these 2 molecules, these are called as a pair of enantiomers. Enantiomers only a pair, and that means there are only 2 more 2. Okay, so enantiomers only a pair. That means one molecule has its superimposable mirror image, non-superimposable mirror image. That's it. That is called as enantiomer. That means a molecule has its non-superimposable mirror image. So such a molecule is called as enantiomer. These enantiomers have all the physical properties, chemical properties, and all the things are same to same. They doesn't differ. The only difference between these 2 molecules is the rotation of plane polarized light. What is this plane polarized light? I will tell you in the later slides. So they only differ in this rotation of the plane polarized light. So such a molecules which can rotate this plane polarized light are called as enantiomers. Okay, so that means the enantiomers have same identical physical properties, identical chemical properties, but only they have difference in the direction of the rotation of plane polarized light. So such a property which is shown by the enantiomers are very important. Okay, so we will let us know what is this. So let me tell you, how can we identify these chiral molecules? I said that there are chiral molecules and there are achiral molecules. But how to identify these chiral and achiral molecules? So there are 2 major criteria. The first one is the element of symmetries. So elements of symmetry is the major criteria to identify this chiral molecule. If there is any element of symmetry, that means it is an achiral. If there is no element of symmetry, that means it is a chiral molecule. Simple. And the second one is, if it is rotating the plane polarized light, they are called as enantiomers. Okay, so chiral molecules only can rotate the plane polarized light. Whether they are enantiomers or diastereomers, but only chiral molecules can rotate the plane polarized light. So these are the two criteria which should be followed. Okay, so the chiral molecule should not have any plane symmetry elements. Okay, that is the main criteria. If it is satisfying this one, then it is called as chiral. Even though this plane polarized light is not satisfied also, that is the chiral, not no worries. So let's see the element of symmetry. So there are four elements of symmetry. The first one is simple or proper axis of symmetry. Second one is plane of symmetry. Third one is center of symmetry. Fourth one is alternative axis of symmetry. Let us look at the each and every example. The first one, simple proper axis of symmetry. Simple or proper axis of symmetry called as CM. So if you look at this molecule, there are two chlorine atoms present on this one and two hydrogen atoms present on the other side. So if we rotate this molecule by 180-degree angle, what happens? This chlorine will go to this position and this chlorine come to this position. Vice versa, hydrogen also come to this position and hydrogen will come to this position. That means there is no difference between the molecule whenever we rotate it at certain angle. Okay, here it is 180 degrees. Such a molecule where if we rotate and has the same molecule in arrangement, molecular arrangement, then it has a simple proper axis of proper axis of symmetry. That is possible. Where n is the degree of angle. That means if we rotate at 180 degree, we place this 180 here, then you will get the yeah. Sorry, this is alpha. That means how much rotation we are doing. So therefore, it gives the 2. That means this has a C2 axis of symmetry. That means it is rotating 180 degree of rotation. If you see the second example, if we rotate this fluorine by 120 degree, we get again the fluorine here. Okay, this fluorine goes here and this fluorine comes here. That means if we rotate it 3 times, that this is C3. That means if we place this 120 here, we get the 3 number. That means it is a C3 axis of symmetry. And if you see this C6, that is 60 degree. If we rotate this molecule with 60 degree, again the carbon will come here and again the carbon goes here. So rotation. So this such type of rotations where we can have the same configuration is called as simple or proper axis of symmetry. Okay. So whenever this simple or proper axis of symmetry is present on the molecule, then they are called as achiral molecules. So therefore these 4 examples are called as achiral molecules. They do not have any chirality. Okay. And one is the plane of symmetry. If you see these examples, whenever we cut this molecule into 2 halves, okay, the molecule is cut into 2 halves, then what happens? Each half looks alike. They are same. That means they are mirror images and superimposable on each other. Such an arrangement is called as plane of symmetry. That means they have a plane of symmetry. If you see this molecule, if you cut this molecule into 2 halves, what happens? This C2H5CH3 and this C2H5CH3 are same. Therefore, this molecule is called as achiral molecule. And if you see this molecule, this is also the same. If you cut it into two half, then we can see that this half and this half are identical. So if we cut this molecule, these are not identical molecules because these 2 molecules are different. These 2 groups are different. So therefore, this molecule is called as chiral molecule. That means whenever we cut the molecule into 2 halves, they should not be matched. or they should not be identical. Okay, so they should not be they should be indistinguishable from the original molecule. That means they should not be same. Such a molecules are called as chiral molecules. So if you look at these examples, all these examples, if you see, you can cut it into two halves and they have the same images. So if you cut into this one and this one are same. If you cut into this one and this one are same. If you cut this into half, this one and this one are same. But here, this structure, if you cut this into half, this is up and this is down. That means they are not equal. So such a molecule is called as a chiral molecule. Okay. So now we can find that whenever there is a plane of symmetry, then they are called as achiral molecules, and when the plane of symmetry is not there, then it is called as chiral. So the next one is called as center of symmetry. So what is the center of symmetry? When we draw a line from one group, suppose this is chlorine, so suppose this is the bromine. I draw a line, imaginary line from bromine to the center of the molecule and again extend it to the another side. If we come with the same group, okay, here. So that means if we draw a line, imaginary line from a group present here to the center of the molecule and extend this line to the other side, and I got the same group, then this is how the center of symmetry. If you see this one, the chlorine, I draw a line here, it coincides at the center of the molecule, and again I extend this line to the other side, then I get the chlorine again. So therefore these two are same groups, and therefore this molecule has the center of symmetry. In the same way here also bromine, when I draw a line, it coincides at the center of the molecule, and I extend this one, I got the same bromine again here. Therefore this is called as center of symmetry. So whenever a center of symmetry is present, then it is called as a chiral molecule. So the next one is called as alternate axis of symmetry. So what is this alternate axis of symmetry? So whenever I rotate the molecule with certain angle, suppose I am rotating the molecule with 180 degree of rotation. So I got this molecule where the chlorine which is present on the top will go down and the chlorine which is present on the bottom will come up. And I place a mirror here to this one such that the mirror image will coincide, or the mirror image will be same as the first molecule. Okay, so simple. This is the molecule which I have taken. I am just rotating it at 180 degree such that the chlorine, the molecule look like this one, and I place a mirror to this one. The mirror image will be the same. If the mirror image is same as the first molecule, then this molecule has an alternate axis of symmetry. So such a molecule is called as a chiral molecule. Okay. So whenever a molecule has all these four symmetry elements, then the molecule is called as any four. Okay, any one. If the molecule has any one also, then the molecule is said to be a chiral. And if it lacks all the four, then it is called as chiral molecule. Okay, so chiral molecule means that should not have all these elements of symmetry. The elements of symmetry should not be present. Such a molecule is called as chiral molecule, whereas if any one of the symmetry element is present, then the molecule is called as a chiral molecule. That is a simple definition of the chiral. Or otherwise this is called as asymmetric center. Asymmetric means doesn't have any symmetry operations. Such a molecule is called as asymmetric center. Okay. Now we will go to the optical activity. So as I defined that the enantiomers show the property of optical activity. Only the enantiomers will show this property called as optical activity. So what is the optical activity? That is optical means a light. That means the property of a light or a property of a molecule to differ the light. Okay, that means the optical activity. So what happens here? The optical activity is the property of enantiomer, which I have told you. Whenever an enantiomer is placed in a sample and we pass the plane polarized light to this sample, okay, so we are placing a enantiomer in a sample in a bottle, suppose, and we are passing the plane polarized light through it. Then what happens? This enantiomer will deviate this plane polarized light at certain angle, or it rotates the plane polarized light with certain angle. Okay, such a property is called as optical activity. So what is happening here? Let us see. If you see this one, this is the light source where the the energy form of the light will be in different directions. So that is traveling in different directions. The light energy form of the light is they are traveling in different directions. We place a polarizer. Polarizer is a small instrument where there is a small slit here which allows only one direction energy. So this energy is in the all directions. But what happens whenever we place a polarizer? Only one direction of energy is passed through this slit. That means it allows only single direction energy. This single direction energy is called as plane polarized light. Okay, so that means it has only one plane. This is in different planes. This energy is present in different planes. But whenever we place a polarizer, it allows only one plane. That means it is a single plane polarized light. Okay, now this plane polarized light is passing through a sample of tube where we have placed our enantiomer. Okay, so where we have placed our enantiomer. Now whenever this sample is passed through this tube, what happens is this is getting deflected or it is rotated at certain angle called as alpha. Okay, so this is analyzed by another polarizer or another instrument called as polarimeter. The total instrument is called as polarimeter. So it analyzes how much angle it has deviated. Suppose this plane polarized light is deviated on the right side. Okay, that means the sample can deviate or rotate the plane polarized light either in the right side or clockwise or anti-clockwise. It can rotate it in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Such phenomena is called as optical activity. Okay, the molecules or the enantiomers which can rotate the plane polarized light either in right hand side, okay, right hand side, that means clockwise direction, or it may be in the left hand side, that means in the anti-clockwise direction. Such phenomena is called as optical activity. And the length of the tube is also very important. It is given by L in a decimeter. So the length of the tube, that is given by L, concentration C, and temperature. Normally all the solutions are the polarimeter is the optical activity is conducted at 20 degrees centigrade. Then the solvent, usually we take the ethanol or chloroform. Then how much what is the wavelength of the light we use? So normally we use 589 nanometer wavelength, that is a sodium lamp, which is denoted by D, capital D. Okay, so these are the parameters which are most useful for getting this optical activity. Our levo rotatory is symbolized by destro means right hand side, that is positive, and levo rotatory is called as negative. So whenever there is equal amount of enantiomers, that means both the enantiomers are present in the sample. That means one enantiomer is rotating the plane polarized light in the left side and another one is rotating the plane polarized light in the right side. If these two enantiomers are present in 50-50 ratio, that means they are equal in amount, then the mixture is called as racemic mixture, because they can rotate both sides they cancel out each other and has zero optical activity. That means the racemic mixture doesn't have any optical activity. Why? Because they rotate the plane polarized light in both in the equal sides. Therefore, they doesn't have any plane optical activity, and they give the zero plane. Okay. So next one is enantiomeric excess. So it is given by EE, 60% EE. That means 60% EE means that the sample has 60% of one enantiomer, and the remaining part, that is 40%, is a racemic mixture. Okay, that means if the sample is given with a ratio of EE, means that sample has one part of that compound, and the another part is having the racemic mixture. For example, if you see that the plus tartaric acid is present with 60% EE in a sample, that means this plus tartaric acid is of 60%, and the remaining 40% contains a racemic mixture. That means 14% means 20% of the plus and 20% of minus. Okay, so for 60% of EE means that it has to say 40% excess of racemic mixture. Racemic mixture is present there. So we have to calculate this only this plus tartaric acid means, that means the 60%. Now we have the positive, that is plus tartaric acid in the mixture is 60% original one, that is plus 1, and the 20% is present in the racemic mixture. Therefore, a total is 80%. Okay, so this is how we calculate the enantiomeric excess. So enantiomeric excess means this 60. Suppose a sample has 60% of plus tartaric acid plus anything, whatever it may be. That means the remaining 40% is a racemic mixture. So racemic mixture contains 20% of plus and 20% of minus. Now, if you want to calculate that how much amount of this plus tartaric acid, then the 60% is the original tartaric acid, that is only plus tartaric acid, and the 20% in the racemic mixture. Totally we get the 80%. So this calculation is also called as optical purity. So how much of pure enantiomer is present in that, we have to calculate that. It is called as optical purity, which is given by alpha, observed by alpha into 100. That means this is called as enantiomeric excess. It's a very important term, enantiomeric excess. Okay, so now this 60% of tartaric acid will be rotating the plane polarized light into plus, that means right hand side. The remaining 40% will not rotate, that means it has zero value. Okay, remember that it has racemic mixture, that is why it is zero value. So now I conclude this with some terminologies. That is, the first one is chiral. That means it's a property of a molecule which has non-superimposable molecules. Okay, so achiral means they are superimposable. So chiral center means that has the carbon has 4 different groups, is called as chiral center. It may be a chiral, it may be a chiral. No one doesn't worry about that one. So enantiomer, as the again there's non-superimposability, but they have to show this optical activity. So diastereomer, they are superimposable or non-superimposable, whatever it may be, but they are not identical. So stereoisomers, if they change one group, they will give a new isomer. Those compounds are called as stereoisomers. So optical activity is a property of enantiomer where the plane polarized light is rotated either in the plus direction or minus direction, that is clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Asymmetric, the molecule which do not show any symmetry elements is called as asymmetric molecule. Such molecules are called as chiral molecules. Whenever they has a symmetry operation, then they are called as achiral molecules. Okay, these are the main terminology which are used in the configuration isomers. So remember these terms. In the future, you can use these terms for defining different molecules. Thank you for your patience listening.